praying Asr the last day in Mecca, and I saw a sign and I was hit my whole body. I started getting really emotional. I realized I should probably adopt an orphan for my first child.
What a shameless display of painful ignorance. Sneako, with his endless trips to Mecca and his countless conversations with sheikhs and dawah bros, still doesn't know that adopting an orphan as your child is haram. It is as if the goal of his Muslim mentors is to keep him as ignorant as possible.
This is a book of hadith. Really good, bro.
Yes, that's what Sneako said in a recent live stream. And that's how you know that Sneako has never read a good book in his entire life. Heck, I don't think he has even read a book in his life. That's why he thought the Council of Nicaea is a book of the Bible.
They did remove the Council of Nicaea from the original Bible. A lot of people haven't read those parts of the Bible.
That's what you get with Muslim reverts like Sneako, an unlimited supply of ignorance. But let's see what he has learned so far from Bukhari.
My favorite hadith so far, and this one I'll tell you right here, is one about women.
I don't think Sneako has read too far into Sahih Bukhari. He's just scratching the surface. That's if he's actually reading it. But he probably is, and he's just like a student who just learned something cool in his first ever science class and can't shut up about it.
And I'll tell you this because I want people to clip this. I tweeted saying, misogyny is cringe. Women are flowers. Misogyny is cringe. Hating women is like very middle school. Ooh, boys rule, girls drool. Yeah, I understand thinking that feminism is bad, but saying the gender of women should not be respected is really juvenile thinking and stupid. It's just incorrect.
Is that what he read in Sahih Bukhari? I mean, Muhammad had many colorful metaphors for women in Bukhari, but he never called them flowers. For example, in Bukhari 5184, Muhammad said, the woman is like a rib. If you try to straighten her, she will break. So if you want to get benefits from her, do so while she still has some crookedness. I guess that's what Sneako saw and concluded that
misogyny is cringe.
Absolutely. I mean, what could be more cringe-worthy and misogynistic than calling women ribs who are most beneficial when crooked? And that's not all Bukhari reports Muhammad calling women. In Bukhari 5093, Muhammad said, an evil omen is the woman, the horse, and the house. This must be what Sneako saw that made him say,
misogyny is cringe.
And I couldn't agree more. Calling women an evil omen is the epitome of misogynistic cringe. And I wish that was all Bukhari reports on Muhammad and his views on women. But it's not. We haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. But first, I really need to know what Sneako found in Bukhari that made him declare with strong, unusual conviction that
misogyny is cringe.
Because this used to be the guy who would go on Fresh and Fit to dunk on OF models and rant about how women deserve less.
A lot of people have been telling me to come on for a long time. I think you guys talk about a lot of the same things I talk about, but I don't really go fully in depth because I'd rather ask and let people look dumb than, show how much I hate women because I do hate women. But it's like, let me just show y'all why.
Yes, that was Sneako in a not so distant past, being the low budget version of Andrew Tate. So what in Bukhari made him change his mind?
And one of my favorite hadiths so far in Sahih Bukhari, I think it was in the book of faith. Or no, it was in the book of knowledge in this section.
Wait, so he's still at the book of knowledge, as in book 3. You see, he hasn't even scratched the surface. That's less than 150 hadiths, and the average user on X reads more than that in an hour. But Sneako spent a week in Mecca and hasn't gone past 135 hadiths in Bukhari. But now I'm really curious, because the crazy hadiths are usually a bit farther than a few pages. So what did this guy see in these few pages?
So Prophet Muhammad is speaking, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet Muhammad just getting nagged by a bunch of women in Medina. The women came up to him and they're complaining. They're saying, you're giving all of your time to the men. You're only talking to men. You're only giving talks to them. Can you at least give us one day a week and talk to us? And so Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, okay, fine. I'll give you one day a week.
So this is what he's describing as women nagging. Some women requested the Prophet to fix a day for them as the men were taking all his time. On that, he promised them one day for religious lessons and commandments. So Sneako read that and his brain imagined it as women nagging. This is the same guy who said earlier,
misogyny is cringe.
Of course, but why would women need a special day in the week to learn the commands and lessons in Islam? Can't they be present with the men when Muhammad is teaching, like it was with other sensible prophets? When Moses taught the Israelites, both men and women were present together, the same with Jesus. But when Muhammad came on the scene, it suddenly became a sin for men and women to congregate together. Like God forbid that men are found in the same space as women. If they do, how would the men be sexually repressed enough to want to fight the kuffars and take their women as sex slaves? How would the men be sexually repressed enough to want to kill and be killed for the promise of a celestial brothel where they would deflower virgins for eternity? You see, the growth of Islam depends a lot on men being sexually repressed, and that's the first thing this hadith points to. So I'm guessing that Sneako, like a normal person, must have seen this, and it made him realize how cringe misogyny is, right?
Wrong. And in the first talk, he's speaking to the women, and he tells them, if a woman finds that 3 of her children are passed away, if 3 of her children die, then those 3 children will protect her from the hellfire. Those 3 children will shield her from the fires of hell. And one of the women during the talk responds to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she says, what about 2? And Prophet Muhammad, he replies and he says, even 2. And not just 3, even 2. I love that hadith, bro. I love that hadith because it shows how we could be forgiven for our sins. It shows us the mercy that Allah has.
Is that it? How does that make misogyny look cringe? So a woman's dead child becoming a shield for her from hellfire displays Allah's mercy. I thought that in Islam, someone's death can't offer another person salvation from hell. But here is a hadith that says otherwise. A woman can literally pave her way to an eternity of watching her husband deflower virgins by raising jihadi sons who would die as martyrs for Allah. And Sneako wants us to believe that this shows the mercy of Allah. I mean, this is supposed to show us Allah's kindness and mercy towards women.
It just shows Allah's mercy because imagine the amount of women at the time. There was all these, especially the early Arabs were burying their children. They were killing their children, and there was a lot of incest and a lot of murder, and there was all this war. So imagine how many women were at the talk and they had children that passed away, and they're grieving and they're extremely upset and they're depressed. And he says, well, if you have 3 children that pass away, they will shield you from the hellfire. So it gives them a little bit of remembrance and a time of calamity.
But who created the time of calamity? Who instigated the wars? Who told his followers to wage war even against Christians that never bothered them? Allah created the calamity that befell these women, and now he's telling them that their children who died because of him will shield them from hellfire. But how about women like Aisha who had no children because they were married at 6 and their marriage was consummated at 9, and the 53-year-old man in question was probably impotent? What about those women? Do they have a shield from the fires of hell? Allah's mercy doesn't extend to them. But if Sneako wasn't a slow reader, he would have gotten to Bukhari 304, where Muhammad told Muslim women that they are the majority of the dwellers of hellfire and they are the most deficient in intelligence and religion than anyone he has ever met. Yes, that's the mercy of Allah right there. But there is more. In Bukhari 511, Aisha said they told her that the 3 things that announce prayers are a dog, a donkey, and a woman if they pass in front of those praying. But where did they get this from? They got it from Muhammad. And what did Aisha say about this? She said, you have made us, that is women, dogs. But they didn't do it. That's the handiwork of Muhammad, and a brilliant display of Allah's mercy if you ask Sneako. But this isn't even the most ridiculous thing Sneako said on stream recently.
I was praying Asr the last day in Mecca, and I saw a sign and I was hit my whole body. I started getting really emotional. I realized I should probably adopt an orphan for my first child.
Yes, Sneako just said that in Mecca, he received a sign from Allah that he should adopt an orphan as his first child. What Sneako doesn't know is that Allah forbade adoption in Surah 33 verse 4 and 5, where Allah said that adopted sons are not real sons. Then he commanded that they shouldn't be given the surname of their adoptive father, but the surname of their biological father. And that doesn't change even if their biological father is unknown. You remain nothing more to them than their brother in faith and their guardian. This is the mercy of Allah. But according to Sneako, the same Allah gave him a sign to adopt an orphan as his first child.
Being a father is not really about just having like, oh, he looks like me, so he's mine. It's about raising somebody and pushing him in the right direction. And so I think to fix that, not only is it a good thing to do, even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he adopted an orphan. Muhammad himself, he was an orphan.
What a shameless display of painful ignorance. Wasn't it Allah and Muhammad who restricted fatherhood to those who are biological fathers? Didn't Allah revoke the status of Muhammad's formerly adopted son? That's in Bukhari 4782. It tells us that Zayd bin Haritha was formerly called Zayd bin Muhammad. That means Zayd used to have the legal status of being Muhammad's son. It was even included in his name. But then Quran 33 verse 5 was revealed, and thus Zayd went from being called the son of Muhammad to being called support the son of Harita, his biological father. I know this, yet I'm not the one waving a hard copy of Sahih Bukhari to look devout on camera. I started looking into Islam at the same time Sneako converted, yet I know this. But Sneako, with his endless trips to Mecca and his countless conversations with sheikhs and dawah bros, still doesn't know that adopting an orphan as your child is haram. It is as if the goal of his Muslim mentors is to keep him as ignorant as possible.
I think that's what I'm supposed to do. I think Allah sent me that sign in Mecca. I don't know the Islamic ruling about being transparent about stuff like that, but it's something I've been thinking about, and I think I'm going to do it.
Moron, that's not the Islamic ruling you should be worried about. What you should be worried about is in Bukhari 3508. If someone claims to be the son of any other than his real father knowingly, he but disbelieves in Allah. And if someone claims to belong to some folks to whom he does not belong, let such a person take his place in hellfire. Isn't Allah so merciful? He will send people to hell because they claim their adoptive father as their real father. And here is a real world application. On Islam Q&A, I saw this question from a woman living in a Gulf state where it is illegal to house a child with you unless it has your name. So she was asking if she could give her brother's son her husband's name just so that she could legally have him under her roof. And the answer she got said no, it is haram to do that. And if there is no other way to have her brother's son under her roof, then she should wait for Allah to make a way. I mean, isn't Allah just overflowing with endless mercy? Allah is indeed the most merciful. And this is Islam, ladies and gentlemen, a religion where women are devils, crooked, half-brained, evil omen, and prayer annullers, and adoption is considered immoral.
This is a part of our religion. There's a reason to it. Yeah? We have no doubt, and we're proud of that.